the dictum for Arud Lagna from Parashara is that if you have something in, let's say, Libra or Aries or Capricorn or
Mm-hmm.
Cancer, and in the family, if you are the youngest,
Mm-hmm.
then the Libra or Cancer will apply, okay? That
Okay.
Arud. And if you're the eldest in the family, then the Arud of Aries and Capricorn will apply.
I see.
Now, this holds true only for movable signs, Chara
Okay.
Rashi. Okay,
Okay.
so in your case, Rod, your Arud
Mm.
Lagna is actually in Libra. That is what the Arud Lagna you're born with. But
Yep.
because you're the eldest in the family, so
Mm-hmm.
that's why you will have Aries as your Arud, you know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so but and then you can read the chart from Arud, and we Arud is a huge topic, guys, you know.
Okay.
We will go into it, so let's get started. Let me share my screen. Hi everyone, everyone's here. I can see Deborah, I can see everyone. Nirmala.
Hi.
Hi, we have Razi today for the first time. Hi, Razi. Okay, so now if you can all mute yourselves, that will be great. Let me just begin. Oh my God, where's the, yeah, from the current slide. Okay, okay. So if everybody can mute themselves, please, that'll be great. Um, And let me know if it is, if at any point you see that it's not recording, let me know that, okay? Okay, so let's begin. This is a really vast topic, okay? The strength of planets and their auspicious directions. Now, in the text of Parashara, but before we begin, sorry, I forgot the Guru Mantra. Let's do quickly the Guru Mantra, okay? 6 times. Om
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 Gurave
Gurave Nama
Namah.
Nama.
Om
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 Gurave
Gurave Namah.
Nama
Nama.
Om
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 Gurave
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 Namah.
Nama
Nama.
Om
Om
Gurave
Gurave
Namah.
Nama.
Nama.
Om
Om
Gurave
Gurave
Namah.
Nama.
Nama.
Om
Om
Gurave
Gurave
Namah.
Nama.
Om
Om
Gurave Namah.
Gurave
Nama.
Nama
Nama.
Om
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 Gurave
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 Namah.
Nama.
Nama.
Om
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 Gurave
Gurave
Namah.
Nama.
Nama.
Om
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 Gurave
Gurave
Namah.
Nama
Nama.
Om
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 Gurave
Gurave
Namah.
Nama.
Nama
Nama.
Welcome everyone. So now, like I said, today's topic is absolutely massive, okay? On many, many levels. We will go quite quickly. So whatever questions you have, I will please reserve them towards the end, or if you want to interrupt me, just give me a little bit more time before we set off with the questions, because I'm going to introduce very key concepts here, like KalaChakra and the quality of time, as in the time and what it means, and where the planets gain their strength, um, and the other flip side of that is where the planets do not gain. That means certain houses, the planets go there and completely die, they feel ill at ease, they feel like dying, and the houses that they rule completely are get destroyed. And so that's a really sort of there are many shades to this. It's a very complex and a vast subject, And then part two is, of course, the remedials. What happens if you do have planets which are in Marana Sthana, which are in dying position. So let's get going. So here, first we go with the Kala, the concept of time. In Sanskrit, Kal is used, very loosely in a very sort of, it's in common parlance. And the thing with Kala is it's in originates from Sanskrit Ka and La. So Ka is to do with the energy of Brahma. It's the syllable or letter of Brahma, Ka, and La is destruction, Laya. And here this is like an ancient relic from Indonesia from thousands of years ago, and depicting the whole um, uh, signifying Kala, the deity Kala. And the conversation between Shiva and Parvati from the Skand Puran says that MahaKala means also the great death, the great black one. And Swami Jagat Jagdish Varnanda, a Hindu translator of Devi Mahatmya. Devi Mahatmya is a huge tantric text. It's phenomenal. It talks about the Dasha Mahavidyas, which are the 10 great knowledge stemming from the Devi or the Shakti. And it renders the feminine compound Kal Ratri, that is where Ratri means night and the dark night of dissolution or destruction. So we are already, when we talk of Kala, we are already have a greater reference here to do with MahaKal. When you use the Sanskrit word Maha, that is nothing but great. Um, and Kala is time and death. And the MahaKala, when you put it together, it means something beyond time or death. It is the time personified, and time is not bound by anything or anyone. And it shows, of course, no mercy. We all know the old cliche, time waits for no man. So this is another definition of the Mahakal, which is linked to Mahakali, the spouse. And Mahakal has four arms. You can see the I think it's 1100 BC, this on the right hand side. And the brilliance of 10 million black fires. That's how the deity Mahakala is depicted, with dwells in the midst of 8 cremation grounds. So when we talk, so now you kind of please, guys, could you please mute your mics? This is like super disturbing. Um, Mute and mute. Okay, please, if you're here, then make sure that you are muted, because it's extremely, yeah. Anyway, so he's adorned by 8 skulls seated on 5 corpses, and he's adorned with ashes from the cremation grounds, where the dead bodies are burned, and and surrounded by shrieking vultures and jackals. It's a not a very pretty picture, and quite disturbing one. But then, Kali, which is sort of like the consort of Shiva, and she is actually Parvati, but Kali is like a fierce form. So she takes on, and so of course Mahakal. When we talk of Mahakal, we are talking of a Rupa of Shiva, but a very fierce one, a Rudra Rupa, that is who is solely responsible for destruction, and he's not bound by any rules or regulations, because his sole job is to do pralay. That is, after every huge yuga, there is like a massive destruction of the system, the entire cosmos, and that's what they are interested in. So now, the word Kala again is also linked with Kala Purusha, which we have seen is nothing but the great, the great Vitruvian man. And here, when we talk about Kala, it's 3 syllables, Ka, La, which is depicted by, like I said, Brahma is the syllable Ka is to do with Brahma. And now Brahma is with the four-headed Brahma, who's the holder of the Vedas, and he assigns the responsibility of creation, manufacturing human beings to Prajapati. And Vasudev is nothing but Vishnu form, and he maintains the stability. And Rudra, of course, as we know, from coming from Pralay, which is all to do with dissolution and destruction of everything. And so these, and Kal Purusha forms the 12 rashis, or the 12 signs, commencing from Mesha, which is Aries, and they are known to be his limbs. And so, we know that this is what the Vitruvi and the Kalpurusha looks like, and we can map all the signs, the Rashis, the Lokas, the multiple worlds below his feet, above him, all to do with, can be mapped on the Kalpurusha. So the idea of Kalpurush is very, very fundamental, and of course it's linked with the Mahakal and Kal, which is nothing but time. I mean, there is no Kalpurusha is linked with Mahakal. Now this is a particular mantra which is given by my guru, Pandit Bhairath, and which we always learn when you're doing charts. The energy of looking into somebody else's karma is extremely debilitating. And when I mean debilitating, some of the karma, whenever it comes on to you, a certain percentage. So this is a very nice mantra to do. Idam te he majam chakram ratna jala samakulam apamrutyu vinashai dadamiti shubham kuru. So this is a very, I always say this mantra. I would recommend you guys to say, to learn it. It's only 2 lines. It's not a big deal. The other mantra, which is also very nice and very powerful, Om Nama Kal Purushaya Sarva Bhutam Bhayankarai Yajamano Upkarai Mam Raksha Swaha. This is also Raksha Swaha. Sorry, I got that wrong. Raksha Swaha. This is also another of a very powerful Kal Purusha mantra. Then there is a third set, which is fantastic. This is my favorite. Om Kalai Swaha, Om Kal Purushai Swaha, Om Krishnai Swaha, Om Krishna Rupai Swaha. You notice there are 4 of them. They protect the 4 kendras. So this is something which I would encourage all of you, because Jyotish is not like any other astrology. This is linked with the Rig Vedas and all the Ved Puranas, and the mantras, which is nothing but the 5th house, and the 9th house in a way, is very powerful. And so the mantra is very much sort of part of the whole Vedanga Jyotish. So coming back now to Kala, which equates to karma, right? Now you may say, like, well, there's all this destruction. Why is Prajapati, who is assigned by uh, Brahma, that he's busy manufacturing, when it's like a boring job, really, but he's doing his job, because ultimately he has to keep creating until we learn, until we are able to get rid of a lot of our karmas, okay? And move towards moksha, or liberation, and self-realization. That really is the ultimate goal of our constant kind of, like, but we all shy away from all our karmas. That's really the truth of it. And so even Parashara teaches that the avatar of Paramatma are many, and that for the purpose of giving the results of karma, Jagannath comes in the form of the Grahas, right? So again, now we are saying that basically the Kal translates into karma, that what are deeds from many, many lifetimes. And here we see it is depicted by the grand wheel of time, akin to an 8-spoke wheel with axle running in the direction of heaven, Swarga, which is the top direction. Swarga, which is the heaven, is always naturally heavenwards, you know. We intuit that down, going down, the patal lokas are sort of like, you know, hell, natural hells. And, you know, so that's kind of, so this is depicted by that plus sign on top, which is very much linked with Shiva. And here the vertical, the horizontal one is Jagannath, often Vishnu, which is often he's depicted as lying on the Sheshnag, on the great celestial ocean of knowledge. And so the axle of Kal Chakra is only changeless point, as if you see the center is completely unchanged, and you keep moving it around and round and round, which is like all the karmas being churned, and it always remains fixed at the center. Hence, Brahma, Shiva, Narayana are called Trimurti, or the fountainheads of Dharma, and they alone remain unaffected by the rotation of Kal Chakra. Well, that is obvious. Now, here we talk about the intermingling of this basic axle, which is depicted by the four kendras, or the angular houses. And when you rotate it, it becomes like a kona, like a trikona, that is a trine houses. And so these, when you put them, bring them together, it basically transpires into those 8 directions, okay? 4 and 4. So these are like the sub directions, and the main ones is the main directions is the east, west, north, south. We all know that. And that is what the axle is. And this whole chakra is the kal, and it, if you put it together, chakra, which is nothing but the wheel, the 8 spoke wheel running in both the directions, is constitutes the karmic directions, and it's nothing but the kal chakra. And that is a fundamental time concept in which we keep moving through the wheel of time constantly, irrespective what anybody does or says, or it's inevitable. The only thing guaranteed is death, and that is inevitable. Okay, and that's nothing but destruction of the Kala, that is the MahaKal taking charge and destroying us. Now, here, hi guys, hello. Somebody wants to ask a question?
No. That's good.
No?
So yeah, just a simple question. So it's a relationship between a temporal direction and spatial direction. So the KalaChakra has got the direction that we have on a map, the same one. So try to understand the link, because
Okay, we haven't yet, we are talking of, I mean, what do you mean?
yeah, in the KalaChakra, just in
Yeah.
the slide before, yeah, you see the direction, the 8 direction that we find also in the space.
Yeah, so we have the vertical and 8 plus 2, down and top, going straight on top. That's the 2 more. So there are total 10 directions.
Yeah, but the KalaChakra is related to time.
Yes.
And this is more space.
Yeah, but then time and space are interlinked.
Yeah,
right?
this is what I try to understand, like when, for example, we talk about that a direction is more auspicious than another. For example, east is auspicious, or north is considered auspicious.
No. Don't go down that road. Leave it. Forget it.
Right. That's why.
Yeah. All directions are auspicious. It depends on what you want to do in what direction and which planet rules it and things like that. We'll come to that. Okay. Leave that alone.
Okay.
Okay.
This was like a bit of confusion. So it's a different, yeah. So it's not the same contest.
I don't know. Let's just go with what I'm saying. Yes, but
Okay.
time and space is an important concept of the Kal Chakra,
Mm.
which is nothing but, as you can see here, the please, this is a little bit of a complex diagram, but bear with it, because as we already understood, the spokes, the axle of the wheel, eight-pronged wheel, which is nothing but of time, and then we have the two extra directions going on top and below. Okay, now here we see the out, just focus right now on the outermost wheel, the outer square. Okay, now the Kal Chakra directions indicate the time when the Graha tend to obstruct karma in a certain direction. You see, the trouble with Kal Chakra is that the planets that are inside the Kal Chakra, okay, they are creating obstructions for the planet which are outside. Okay, that is the first fundamental thing. I'm just, like I said, I'm just introducing the concept of Kal Chakra. It's a little bit more sort of complex, and we won't go at this stage, we won't go into it in such a big way. But to, in order for us to understand which direction is auspicious and what direction it rules, for that I have to bring in the concept of Kal Chakra, right? And so here, for example, spirituality and knowledge comes from the feet of the Guru, which is indicated by the northeast direction. So Jupiter, symbolizing all pure knowledge, is the ruler of this direction. So you see, Jupiter symbolizes the northeast direction, and therefore Jupiter is the pure form of Shiva, and Ishana, which is what the deity of the northeast is Ishana, is nothing but pure form of Shiva, the knowledge form of Shiva, which is what is indicated by Jupiter. In the Kal Chakra, the Rahu obstructs this direction, and any activity related to Jupiter, if performed during Rahu Kal, will result in destruction of work and ill fame. So you can see Rahu here, right, in the inner one. So the planets which are in the inner sanctum create obstructions for the ones in the outer wheel. Okay, that is a fundamental thing, and that is all you need to remember. Okay, and we will come to which directions actually Jupiter does very well, and each of these planets does very well. Okay, now here, if you see here, for example, the sun is opposite to Saturn. The sun rules the eastern direction, and the Saturn rules the western direction. So this is a kind of intuitive, yeah, because the sun rises in the east, it's super super bright. Okay, when it's rising, it starts, that's, so obviously the direction it rules is the east, while the setting of the sun, when it sets in the west, it's super weak. You know, it's about to die, the sun is dying in the sky. And so what gains momentum? Saturn. Okay, so Saturn is going to be strong in the western direction. So that is something you have to understand at a very deep level. And the only thing you need to be aware of is the planets which are in the inner sanctum are what creates destructions or obstructions as well for the planets which are in the outer wheel. That's all you need to know. The outer wheel is called the Digbala chakra. Digbala is nothing but, Bala is strength. So you know, it's getting, all the outer planets are getting great strength compared to the um, and the Kala Chakra, which is the inner one, behaves as the obstruction. Remember, we went through the Kala Chakra that it is all to do with karma and obstruction. So obviously, what else is it going to do other than bring in all kinds of obstructions to deal with coming from previous lifetimes? So here it's again depicted in a little bit of a different manner, but again, it's the same concept here. The outer petal, as you can see, if we compare it to the great lotus, the outer petal is basically what the planetary gains in the direction. And these are the deities that are associated with each one of them. And that is a very, very powerful concept, because each of these directions are ruled by the 10 different directions are ruled by 10 different points or planets, because Rahu and Ketu also have a particular direction, okay? And they get their strength from Lord Vishnu in various directions. And that, to in order for you to do the karma yoga for you, in order for you to give yourself 100%, so that you can make all those necessary karmas to burn some of the negative karmic scripts that you're holding from many, many lifetimes. Really, that is what its goal is. Now, as you can see, everybody familiar with this?
No,
No? Who's that?
Mark. Why should he
Hi.
be familiar with it?
Okay, so I'm talking of, this is Kali, right?
Oh,
Can
right.
I?
I thought you meant the previous slides.
Oh, no, 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 not the previous slide. We'll come to the previous slides in much more in depth. But here I wanted to introduce you to this fundamental thing, as it's called the basically Kali. She's the consort of Lord Shiva. It's actually Parvati. But when she goes into a war-like demonic mode, where she's willing to destroy everything, she takes the form with the red tongue. And it is talked about in a lot of the Devi Mahatma text, and a lot of the Devi Tantric texts and the Agamas. They often talk about the Dasha Mahavidyas. As you can see, they are the 10 great Mahavidyas, and they map into the planetary. If you have any problems with any of the planet, then she takes in the form of one of these diabolical forms, in order for you to get saved from the some of the obstructions and problems. And the way it goes is, as this is a very important and pertinent uh, story. It's even there in the Shiva Mahapuran, and where Shiva is attempting to flee in the 10 directions, but and only because he wants peace and solitude, typical male. Um, and he alludes to the fact that the soul is trying to escape from the world of karma, but there is no escape. The mother takes in then the horrific forms, which forms nothing but the 10 Dasha Mahavidyas, in order so that the individual soul can cause um, the mind or Parvati to have these terrible experiences. So, in order for you to go through some of these experiences which have been accrued negatively, it's like a negative remit, karmic remit, a portion to you in your life which we don't want to deal with. We want to shove it under the carpet. But basically, this is what Kali takes the form. She blocks you in all the directions, so even Shiva can't escape. So if Shiva can't escape, what hope do we have of escaping it? And so that's why she takes different forms, and then Shiva was unable to move, and hence the importance of the 10 directions, which she basically takes each of these different forms. And that actually is a separate tantric study in itself. It's a very advanced study. There are a lot of mantras, but they are beautiful mantras. And any afflictions to any of the KalaChakra in your chart basically will these Dasha Mahavidyas will help towards that. So, for example, a debilitated moon, maybe in the 10th house, then Bhuvaneshwari is one of your Dasha Mahavidyas, and a simple mantra of Bhuvaneshwari will help you overcome the negativity of a debilitated moon and a moon which is in zero Digbal. Now we will see which planets go in where they flourish, where they are like, oh my God, here. Now, Jupiter. which is the Akash Tattva, which is the ether element, excels, gains great strength in the first house in Lagna. And so does Mercury. Mercury excels in the first house because it's also the Prithvi Tattva. Now you may well ask why Jupiter, why Mercury excel in the first house in Lagna? Why? The reason is simple. Jupiter becomes like a great protector of all the knowledge, all your intelligence, all the choices you make, all of that. Jupiter becomes a great protector. Okay. And and they and it, Jupiter is also to do with learning, expansion of knowledge, everything. Mercury is a Prithvi Tattva. Mercury also likes to learn, but its learning is focused towards gaining skills, gaining money and financial well-being, and all of that is Mercury loves. That's why its associations with Prithvi or earth element. So these two planets do really phenomenally in the first house. That means you do have the blessings. If you have, we'll see which deity will then bless you. But for now, let's focus that Jupiter, understand that Jupiter and Mercury get huge strength in the first house or Lagna. Similarly, we come to the Jala Tattva, which is Venus and the Moon. They get great strength in the fourth house. Now, the fourth house is like a Jala, it's a water element is strong, Jala. And so it is but natural that the Moon and Venus will love being there. They excel being there, so that's kind of, and they love to read, and, they spend their days kind of hanging out at home and learning. Hence the association of bhakti and association of learning with the fourth house, and an inherent sense of happiness. You may feel happy for no good reason. Maybe you have Venus conjunct moon in the exalted moon in the fourth house, so of course you're going to be hanging out at home and love all of that. So so that is the blessings you have got. Then we come to the seventh house, where Saturn in the seventh house from Lagna or Arud Lagna. Now, bear in mind, I went through briefly the Arud Lagna last week. These positions have to be counted from both Lagna as well as your Arud Lagna. Now, I will come to the signification, and the fundamental difference is between if you have a planet in its great strength in Digbal from Lagna versus the difference what it is from Arud Lagna. Okay, we will come to that in the next slide. But right now, let's focus on Saturn and Rahu. They both gain great strength in the seventh house. The Vayu Tattva, that is the air element, both of them rule the air element. Saturn definitely is the ruler of Vayu Tattva. So they excel in the western direction. That is superb. Then we come to the 10th house, where you have the Agni ruling it. That is the southern direction. Fantastic. Mars, and Ketu and Sun. So Ketu is upward direction. Bear in mind that here Ketu is like Mars and Rahu, and is like Saturn indicating, and Rahu is like Saturn indicate Digbala due to the Agni that is in the 10th house. That is, Ketu excels in the 10th house, and Rahu excels like Saturn because it's Vayu Tattva point in the 7th house. Vargothamalagna. Now, this is again a concept, advanced concept. I'm not going to go too much into it, but Vargothamalagna is to have Digbala planets adjoining the houses that give the Digbala. Okay, now Vargothamalagna means that you have great strength of the Lagna. Okay, Vargothama means nothing but, let's say you are Gemini rising in your natal Rashi chart D1. We also look at the Navamsh chart, which is nothing but the D9, the ninth harmonic chart. in the D9, if your rising sign is also Gemini, it's called Vargottama. Planets that are Vargottama or the Lagna ascendant, which is Vargottama, has got huge strength. Okay, but this pertains only the word Varga nothing but means Varga chart. That is, it's like the harmonic chart. And Uttama means great, fantastic, the best. So when you put the word Vargottama, means the best division you can have for that planet, for the Lagna. So if you have Vargottama Lagna in the same in D9 as well as D1, then you have Vargottama Lagna, and that means your Lagna has got great Digbal, great strength. Okay. We also have points to calculate various other, strengths, which I'm not going to cover at this point, of course, because it's a huge topic. But sometime when we do the intermediate course, we will go through all the many, many, many strengths there are which constitute towards Shadbal. Okay. Now, then the planets joining the houses. Now, this is another thing. So let's say you have Sun in the 11th or Sun in the 9th. Then, too, you have kind of middling possibility that your Sun is probably just going into the 10th house. That means you does have little bit of what do you call the directional strength. Okay, but don't get too excited, because really we will stick with the main ones. But that's not to say that it won't have, it just has middling strength. Okay, directional strength. Okay, so similarly, if you have, like, let's say Moon in the 3rd or Moon in the 5th, so it will have kind of middling strength, because it's moving or it's close to the 4th house, which is where it gets perfect directional strength in. Okay, now, here we learn the sources of wealth are also given from the Arud. Okay, so if you have the planets in Digbal from Arud Lagna, then you do have key source of wealth coming from there. The Lagna and Arud show the success in life, and victory is sure to follow if the Lagna Lord is strong, but that is not but natural. If it has Digbal, propitiate the deity of the direction for assuring the success and victory. Wealth is sure to follow from these directions of planets having Digbal from Arur. So now there is a fundamental difference. Okay, let's say you have Sun in the 10th, okay, in your natal chart. Okay, I'm not to forget about the Arur. If you have Sun in the 10th, then you have blessings of Indra. You're going to be very ambitious, as we are going to see in a few other slides, right? The eastern direction is good. But let's say if you have Sun in the 10th from your Arod Lagna, then the eastern direction, so let's say you're living in America, then if you move towards the east of the world, like physically you relocate to, let's say, Burma, or let's say Asia. Well, Asia would be Southeast Asia, so not quite Asia, but let's say India, that's east enough from America, then you will benefit hugely. It will bring you a lot of gains, lot of wealth. Maybe you'll, start some kind of Ayurvedic learning from the East, or teaching or something, which will be hugely beneficial and which will be a big money churner. You see, that is a fundamental difference. But that's not to say that if you have Sun in the 10th in your Rashi chart, then you won't have all of that. You will, but it's more in the mind. You are blessed by Indra. Remember, you're ambitious. You have inherent, the blessings of Indra. Now, sometimes Indra has a bad reputation as, he was cursed with 1,000 yonis on his body. That is 1,000 vaginas on his body, because he was like overly into his indriyas, that is all his senses and pleasures, and all the wild sort of hankering after all the pleasures, which is the five senses. But ultimately, he was so pained after he was cursed with all those vaginas over his body, because Lord Shiva said, hey, you want all these pleasures and shirk away from your duty? Here, take more. You'll have like 24/7, all the pleasures all the time, with thousands of vaginas, and there you go. And he was absolutely gutted. He hated it. He was like wishing he had to then pray to Lord Shiva to take all that away, so that you know he could have a real, like he could breathe. And so finally Lord Shiva said, let those 1,000 or 100, whatever the figure, get converted into eyes, chakshu. So finally those indriyas, sorry, those yonis or vaginas got converted into great eyes of knowledge. And that's why Indra is revered quite a lot because of this, because he transformed himself. So similarly, the sun in the 10th in your Rashi chart, you can be like super like, oh, I want this and I want that, and forever hankering after all kinds of power and all sorts, until you reach a point like Indra where you can't bear it anymore and you want out. And that's when the revelation will come through knowledge. Okay, so the pursuit of knowledge is very good. So in a way, this works on the mind if you have it in Rashi, but if you have it in Arud, it works through actual gains in terms of material benefits. Now, similarly, the Venus in the fourth, southeast direction is fantastic for you, and Mrityunjay Homa or mantra is superb because you are blessings of Agni. So if you have a weak Venus or something, make Venus strong by making praying to Agni, Hom Agniye Namaha. So those are things that you can do. Similarly, Mars in the 10th, you got blessings of Yama, the god of death, you know, and and so he rules the south. Pitris or mains are to be propitiated. So again, Mars in the 10th is a very, very fierce and a very die-hard placement. These people have huge amounts of energy, you know. Rahu in the 7th, Niritti, that is a goddess of destruction. Kali, she's the MahaKali. So they have huge powers, and Rahu excels in the southwestern direction, and the Brahma or Rakshasa is its deity. Similarly, Saturn in the 7th, Varuna, they have blessings of Varuna. So if you want to kind of tap into the Saturn in the 7th, then you can do the Rudra Abhishek, and the western direction is what it's ruled by. Similarly, Moon in the 4th, like I already said, they have blessings of Vayu Devata, you know, and so the northwestern direction is what is by the ruled by the moon. And decoration, perfumes, surround yourself by nice glass items and all. Activate that moon in the 4th, and you will have those blessings. Similarly, Mercury and Jupiter, if you activate it, Mercury is fantastic in the first house in Lagna. You have blessings of Kuber, money making machine. You're like, woo, you can really tap into that. But through knowledge, through kind of more, have a good moral compass, not be like this cutthroat mercenary. Okay, so bear in mind that you can activate it, and that's the northern direction. And similarly, Jupiter in the first, as I said, northeastern direction, and the ruler is Shiva, Ishana. You're blessed by Ishana. So through listening to satsang, bhajans, scriptures, reading, you're activating your Jupiter. Reading, writing, all of that will help that Jupiter in the first. They have huge power, Jupiter in the first. Now, let's see what Parashara talks about the Digbala of from Lagna, to ascertain the blessings of the Dikpal deity, to worship the Dikpal deity with a sincere vow or Namaha mantra. And he also talks about that, implies that the direction of Karma Yoga shall fructify in the direction indicated by the Dikpal deity. So for example, if you actually physically go to the eastern direction, if it is from the Arud, and if it is just in your Lagna, in your Rashi chart, no problem. All you have to do is worship Home Indraya Nama. These kind of things you can do, as I mentioned already earlier. Now, oops, yeah, okay. This is Digbala from Arud Lagna. Now, remember I said there is a fundamental difference. When planets have Digbala from Arud Lagna, they have been found to give success in the physical directions indicated by them. Now, this is a very fundamental principle. So please, we are going to take up some chart examples, but please remember this dictum. Don't be fooled. Like for example, this map should be in your head, and even this one should be, because bear in mind that, for example, okay, the way the KalaChakra works, the inner one is a KalaChakra. Remember I said they create obstructions like the Kali. These planets in the inner sanctum will obstruct you because you have karma there, and so it will keep creating badak and obstacles which you have to overcome. Okay, so for example, Jupiter is fantastic in the northeastern direction. If you have Jupiter in Lagna, that means you're blessed by Ishana, which is form of Shiva. But if you want to, let's say, get your book published or something like that, and you want to send in a particular hour of planetary hour, do not do it in the Rahu Kal. It's going to be like the publisher, even if it wants it, it'll say like, no way, Jose, forget it. So stay away from Rahu Kal, okay, because that will create obstructions. Similarly, you can use this very successfully as avoiding certain key things that you don't want in these planetary hours or Kal, okay. Like I said, this is a big topic. It's not a small topic. Jyotish is huge. Okay, so don't get say like, oh yeah, it's not working. Well, it's not working because you've probably been sending emails at the wrong the maybe the Rahu hour. Or similarly with Agni, if you want to get married, then increase your Agni, make the Agni deity powerful, which is the Venus one, which is the Venus one. But Mars is the obstruction. So through hot-headedness, to calm the Mars down, you can give it like little sweet or little, stop eating all the spicy food, and the Mars will calm down. And then your relationships, your prospects for a long-term relationship will improve. That is how you work with it. Okay, so now going back to, let's see the examples. Now these you can read, I don't want to keep going through them, but basically planets here, this is from Hora Ratnam. All the planets in are listed one by one, and which is zero Digbal, that is on the right hand side. When they talk about Digbal, the planet which is, let's say, Sun in the 4th, Sun in the 10th, Sun in the 10th has got great 100% Digbal or strength. Sun in the 4th, zero. So what happens if you have Sun in the 4th? The native will incur harm from all directions, will tell lies, be averse to honoring gods and Brahmins. Now, this is a general, please don't panic. This is a general one, okay? If you have it in the Rashi chart. But you obviously have to work that extra hard to overcome some of the problems with the sun in the 4th house. Similarly, moon in the 10th, the native will be interested in going to distant lands out of distress, will wander aimlessly, be unfortunate, perform mean deeds, be unkind in benefit of sons and friends. Now, again, don't take it a little bit with a pinch of salt, okay? That doesn't mean anyone who's got moon in the 4th house, sorry, in the 10th house, zero Digbal, is going to experience all this. Maybe he will have some point in his life when he's going through a moon antardasha, he will have like, he will wander aimlessly or something like that, okay?
Sona, may I
Yes.
ask you,
Yeah, go on.
What if, for example, the moon in the 10th house is exalted?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that is very positive.
Yeah,
If the moon is, yes,
yeah,
of course.
exactly.
Yes,
So,
it will
but if
change.
if it's
Yeah.
debilitated, it might, have more chances to experience this.
No, it
No.
depends on how it is. If it is debilitated, maybe it's in a parivartana with something, then it will change. If it is,
Mm.
but ideally, if it is a zero digbal, then you want it to be a little bit weak as well, so that the all of these don't manifest.
I see. Okay, thank you. So it's
Yeah.
better if actually it's better if it's debilitated. It's not that it increases the chances of experiencing this.
Well, anyway, it will also experience the problems with debility, because moon in debility, these people will eat bad food, not very nice food, that kind of a thing. So basically, it's like their cup is full of kind of, it's overflowing with already problems, and because of the moon's debility, then on top of that you have all these things too coming with. So yes, I mean, so it will be a little bit watered down, but also bear in mind that you may not experience this all the time, every time. It may come during a moon antardasha or a moon dasha. You will change country, you will go on a soul searching trip if you have moon in the 10th, because you'll wander aimlessly. I mean, it's part of the karma. Then you have to come to awareness, which will change everything, of course. Yeah. So, similarly,
Thank you.
Mars, yeah, you're welcome. Similarly, Mars in the fourth house, fourth house, native will have no wealth, will serve aged women, desirous of others' wealth, and will undergo intense difficulties. Now, can I just add one thing to what the earlier question you asked me? By and large, I would say, now this is a general rule of thumb. If you have malefics in zero digbal, it's a problem, okay? If you have benefics in zero digbal, it's not so bad, okay? So the moon in the 10th, even if it's in debility, it's not that miserable, okay? So because if it's in debility, that means you're Aquarius Lagna. Anyway, people who are Aquarius Lagna have a little bit, moon is a dosha for them, as in, yeah, so they suffer from the moon dosha. But that is advanced and a different story altogether. We will do that when we come to the secrets of the ascendants, okay? Now, Mercury, when the Mercury is in Digbal, the person will be kind, friendly, enjoy pleasures, be jocular, endowed with prosperity, skill, virtues. He'll be a gracious figure and famous in the world. Okay, let's have a look at that. We will have a look at the examples. Now, this is again from Jataka Bharnam, another text. It talks about Mars being endowed with strength if it's in the 10th house. Native gains popularity. These people can do anything, especially if you have Mars in own sign like Scorpio or Aries. My God, these people are powerhouses. Mars and 10th in its own sign. It's like Ruchak Mahapurush Yoga. They are like little patent tanks. They will work, and nobody can match them in terms of their energy and skill level. Fantastic work. So again, Mercury in Digbal by Jataka Bharnam talks about writing, trade, education, oratory, teaching, grammar will destroy all evil combinations. That's another thing. They will look super young and age, and you cannot be, their age cannot be guessed. So that Mercury, that sense of like little being a little prince and being really young at heart, will lend itself to the if Mercury is in Digbal, that is in the first house in Lagna. Anyway, any planets in Lagna will color your appearance. Absolutely. Because Lagna is your physical body as well. Please bear that in mind. Okay, now Jupiter, back to the Hora Ratnam text. If Jupiter is in, again, I don't want to go through all this. You can read this. I will provide the slides presentation at the end. Now, my observation is that if you have Ketu in Digbal, that is in the 10th house, it's superb. You have great intuitive abilities, absolutely phenomenal. And if Rahu is in the 7th house, you have a very strong ability to connect in terms of professionally, research, and all of that. Please, you'll be phenomenal. You'll have like a lot of, you'll be able to connect with uh, people worldwide. People who have like a more than a million hits on YouTube and all that will probably have very strong Rahu in the 7th, either through Arud or in their natal chart. But of course, it doesn't bode very well for relationships. It's a disaster as far as relationship is concerned. So please, you have to weigh everything, okay? Now, these are the deities, and this is the list. Again, you can go through them. These are the deities that these are the planets that will create obstruction to you. Now, for example, if you have Saturn in the western direction in the 7th house, fantastic. You have blessings of Varuna, but the Venus will create a problem for you, because you see, Venus is a planet that loves enjoyment, luxuries. It's about relationships. It's about going here and there, and it's a Jalatattva graha. That is, its water element is strong. It wants to flow. It wants to relate. It wants to talk about friends, and go from here and there. It wants to look good for many, many men, vice versa. And but Saturn is an old man. He's very methodical. He wants to he's serious. Venus is a distraction. So even though in their friends, technically speaking, in the you know graha maitri, that is in the planetary friendships, Saturn and Venus are best of friends, but yet the significations of them are totally different. Saturn is a different kind of a being compared to Venus. So Saturn particularly doesn't like the way Venus conducts herself. So Venus is creates obstacles for Saturn. Okay, so that is how you read things.
I have a question.
Yes, go on.
You say that Mercury has a Digbala in first house, and therefore it is strong in first house, but Moon creates a problem for that, right? So
Yes.
if you want to extract the goodness of Digbala planets, should you concentrate more on the planet itself or the Kala Grahas for them?
No, you don't. You focus on the deity. You focus on the deity, on appeasing the deity, because you have the blessings of the deity. So you make sure that you appease the deity. You already have those blessings in place, and not to do any work, any significant work which is related to Mercury in the Kal of Moon. Okay, that is a major thing, because that will create an obstacle. So you have to be aware of that. Don't do stuff on Mondays. Don't take Monday off. If you have Mercury strong, you have Mercury in Gemini and your Gemini Lagna, take Monday off, because that Mercury is very strong. It's fantastic, in the first house. But the moon is going to create a problem, you know so it's going to be too emotional. Mothers are going to be like, oh my god, too emotional, too picky, too yeah, smothering. So yeah, so don't pick moon, don't pick color of moon. So that's how you work with it. Yeah.
Thank you.
So now we come to the chart of Albert Einstein. Okay, now you can unmute yourselves. Can everybody see this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, do you
Hmm.
think he has anything in Digbal? Can somebody tell me?
Sun.
Yeah.
And
What else? Anything else?
No.
no, doesn't look like.
Maybe Rahu?
Yes, absolutely. Remember, secondary Digbal, I told you, it's middling strength Digbal because Rahu has great strength in the
All right.
seventh
Yeah,
house.
middling.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
middling.
Mm-hmm.
It's I wouldn't
Yeah.
really consider it. Now
Mm-hmm.
let's examine from the Arud Lagna. Okay. Now here I've got on the bottom, right bottom, I've moved the whole chart to read from the Arud Lagna. Can somebody tell me from his Arud Lagna
Mm-hmm.
what planets does he have in great strength?
Saturn.
Saturn.
Yes.
And Venus.
No, Venus is not in
Oh no.
strength. Venus
Oh no,
strength is
no,
in the
Venus.
fourth
No, no,
house.
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the moon is also moving towards the fourth house, but it's predominantly Venus. Sorry, I beg your pardon. It's
Saturn.
predominantly Saturn. So
Mm.
guess what? Where did Albert Einstein go from Hungary or Germany? Where he was working at the university.
To
Where
the
did
US.
Yes, he went to America. That's where he got bulk of his absolute fame and name, and his work was appreciated there. And of course, he delivered the atom bomb there. So, that's Saturn for you. That's very strong in Digbal. That's a powerhouse of a Saturn, you see.
Mm-mm.
And it's with an exalted planet, Venus. Can anybody see that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Venus and Pisces.
Yes,
Mm-mm.
absolutely. So imagine a single benefic in the seventh from your Arur can give you the highest of Raj yogas. And of course, he's iconic. I mean, we still remember him till today. So that is, it served him. He wasn't interested in money, he wasn't interested in any of that. He gave away a lot of his wealth, but that Venus, that Saturn really gave him everything. So he did have the blessings, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Does he have anything in the first house, fourth house?
Mercury.
Yes.
Ketu.
Mercury in the
Yes.
first house.
Absolutely. Ketu in the 10th. Absolute Digbal. Now, what do you think is indicated by, on a mental level, who is supporting him? On a mental level,
Mars, Ketu. Okay.
yeah, not Mars, Ketu. Ketu supporting him 100%. Ketu is, what is the signification of Ketu? If you have Ketu in Digbal from your Lagna, that means you have the blessings of Anant, you know. The deity Anant is basically Matsya Avatar. He will give you everything in terms of anything to do with spirituality. And we associate Ramakrishna Paramahamsa with everything to do with Vedanta and spiritual, everything that is spiritual. So, of course, indeed, he had that on a mental level, which is what really counts. That's because the Lagna is Satyapeetha. He also has Mercury there, but he wasn't interested in money. He'd never touched money all his life. He thought it would corrupt it. It would corrupt him. So what did so how did it transpire then? Basically, Mercury transpired instead of bringing him financial wealth and well-being, it transpired into learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he taught everybody, and he was a great teacher, and that's how he did. And his famous student, Swami Vivekananda, set up ashrams all over the country, the Ramakrishna Mission Mats all over the country, and that is how that Mercury transpired. You see, so you see, this is a very important part of it. Now, another thing, if you see from his Arud Lagna, right? Can you see from his Arud Lagna? He's got two Aruds. Hi guys. Wakey wakey. Can somebody tell me where both his Aruds are? One of them is of course in Taurus.
Mars is...
So here, one of the Lagna lords is Saturn, the other one is Rahu. Okay. Now, one of the Lagna lords, Rahu, if we take Rahu as the Lagna lord, then it is, we cannot go, the dictum is that if you count from the Lagna to Rahu, it is 4. And then if we count from Rahu to the, it comes to the 7th house. Parashara's dictum is it cannot be in the 7th house and it cannot be in the Lagna, because Lagna in 7th house is Satyapeetha. You know, it's the truth, the eternal truth. So, and Arud is all about the Maya, about the moon, about your mind, about how you are seen in the world. So it cannot be that. So we have to always take a 10th from there if any of the Aruds land in the 1st house or the 7th house. So we take it into the 10th. So then one of the Aruds is in the 10th with Rahu there, okay? If we take this Arud, then Sun has great Digbal, okay? Is everybody here with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we take Saturn as one of the Aruds, right? As Saturn as one of the other Lagna lord, then we get in Jupiter as the Arud, right? It lands in 1. If we count 9, we hit Saturn. From Saturn, if we count 9, we hit Jupiter, okay? So that means it's the 5th house, Jupiter in great strength. Again, we see that Jupiter is fantastic in from his Arud. That means he has great learning, great teaching, great, all the Jupiterian stuff, which is what he did, right? Yes.
Yes.
So you understand, this is a very, very important concept. You have to calculate it, which planets dispassionately from both Arud as well as your Lagna, and see which planet is going to give you the wealth and benefits and generally great strength, absolutely great strength. Yeah. Okay, now we come to the last part of it, planets in Marana Karaka Sthana. What that Marana Karaka Sthana means is dying positions. Okay, this is the great Parashara shloka here. If Saturn is positioned in Lagnas, Moon is in. If Moon is in, sorry, I've got missed that. Moon is in the 8th. Saturn is stationed in Lagna. Oh yeah, Moon is in the 8th bhava, and Jupiter occupies the 3rd bhava. Journey to the abode of Yama, or god of death, will occur soon. Okay, so that's what, so in a way Parashara is teaching a very important dictum here. That means he's saying that planets in Marana Karaka are the cause of death. And often, when you have these placements, Sun in the 12th, Moon in the 8th, Mars in 7th, Mercury in 4th or 7th, Jupiter in 3rd, Venus in 6th, Saturn in 1st, Rahu in 9th, and Ketu in the 4th are Marana Karaka. That is, these are the killing positions for these planets, okay? Especially the moon. You don't want the moon to be in the 8th. Any other planet, you can manage it. But if the moon is in the 8th, then you do need to have 2 things. You have to see the Karaka. The Karaka of the 8th house is?
Secrets and research and death.
No, Karaka. Who's the Karaka of the 8th house? Come on, guys.
Saturn.
Yes.
Saturn.
Thank you. So Saturn is also in Marana in this example of Parashara. So that's why the moon cannot be saved even with Saturn, because Saturn also is in Marana. And then you look to Jupiter, the most benefic in the chart, and that is also in Marana in the 3rd house. Jupiter doesn't like being in the 3rd house, because its 3rd house is a house of chit chat and short trips and, kind of like marketing and your mind and all that. And Jupiter wants loves being in the ninth house. Though having said that, if you do have Jupiter in the third, it does aspect the ninth house. So you are willing to, basically, you're willing, your guru is absolutely, if Jupiter rules your ninth house and it is in the third house, that means your guru, your father figures, they are all willing to go, they are willing to die for you, they're going to go long distance so that you are okay. So in a way, it works also the reverse way. You some planets will actually, that signification, they are willing to die for you. So this is a very important concept in Vedic. Planets in the MKS, you have to understand it on a very deep level and keep researching it and find things that a sun in the 12th house is always going to be problematic. Okay, now here I am showing you, just remember this chart. Okay, so Saturn in the first feels completely, it is the house of the sun. The sun loves being in the seventh house, and Saturn is in great strength in the seventh house. It hates, it's in great Digbal in the seventh house. It hates being in the first house. It feels completely in out of place. Then in the second house, Ketu feels Mercury, I think up till a point, even Ketu, but Mercury definitely is ill at ease in the second house, and as well as in the fourth house, because Mercury is a prince. It wants to go everywhere, it doesn't want to stay with its mummy. It wants to just like play, play, play. So in the fourth house, it feels ill at ease. It's the house of the mother, the house of comfort and cuddles and happiness coming from the mother. So the Mercury is like, oh, I want to just go out and play. I don't want to do early education. It doesn't want to sit in school and study. So that's why it's ill at ease. These people never want to commit to anything. They feel completely like break into a sweat, when it comes to Mercury in the seventh house, where now Mercury is also in Marana in the seventh house. That means, what does that mean? That means every time you have to sign a contract, whether it's a marriage contract or any, the Venusian contracts, you're going to just break into a sweat. You're going to be like, oh my God, I'm not sure. You're going to be like the classic commitment phobes, those kind of people. Mercury in the seventh, you see. Um, Anybody has any experience of that? No? Yes? No?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
No? Okay. Then Venus in Jupiter in the third, we already did. Venus in the sixth house feels completely ill at ease. You see, sixth house is the house of service, the house of enemies, the house of serving. So the Venus there feels like, what am I doing? I'm constantly working and serving everybody. So it feels completely inadequate there. And that is why that is a killing position for Venus. And whatever the houses that it owns, they are going to be kind of, you know, uh, wiped out a little bit at some point at least. I'm not saying all the time it's going to be a zero. No, but over time you pay your dues, because these are very karmic positions. Some lifetime you have abused women, you have been horrible to your sisters, and that is why you've landed up with a position like that, you see. And that's why Venus in the sixth is a problem. So the dictum is basically be nice to women, be gentle, be a gentleman, be in genuinely good to women, and don't harm them and treat them badly. That is the lesson of Venus in the sixth house. Okay. Similarly, Mars in the seventh, be good to your brothers, because Mars is the Karaka for brothers and colleagues and work colleagues. Be good to them. Don't be going into a warlike way with them. Okay. So the Mars in the seventh house, in the house of Venus, feels completely inadequate there. It feels like it's dying. Similarly, Moon in the eighth. Moon in the eighth, ideally, you would want to wear improve the Karaka. In all of these, you want to see where the Karaka is. Let's say if you have Mercury or Mars or even both in the seventh house, you want to see the Karaka of the seventh house is Venus. You want to see what is the plight of Venus, because only she can help you out. And God forbid, hopefully Venus is not in the sixth house, because then you're really like, oh my gosh, you know. Then we come to Rahu in the ninth house. Rahu in the ninth house feels completely dying. You know, it's in the house of the guru, it's in the house of religious religion and religious institutions. It feels completely inadequate there. And so it's like a thug who lands up at the temple, you know. It's like, oh, should I be here? Oh, maybe I will steal a few things here and there. That's how Rahu's mind is going to work. That's why Rahu feels like dying there, you know. It's out of place. Similarly, the sun in the 12th, it feels like, where's my limelight, where's my shining, where's my truth? His truth is in Lagna, because the Karaka of the first house or Lagna is Surya, sun. So in the 12th house, it's like completely like sidetracked, you know. It's gone into a meditation, and it's like, why am I meditating here, you know? That's horrible. You see, so Surya doesn't do particularly well, and it's only after a lot of tribulations and paying your dues. As I said, they are very karmic positions, these, you know. So after paying your dues to the father, being nice to the father and governments and things like that, then maybe you are able to come out of um, these suffering positions, because you really feel like dying there, you know. Okay, so yeah, we already did that. Let's see, Alan Turing. We anyone you can unmute yourselves. We all know about Alan Turing, right?
No, I don't.
No,
Well, he
I
was,
don't either.
yeah, well, he was the brains behind all the decoding in the World War II and World War, I think, one, and he was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, he was credited for what our modern computers are. And he was gay, but he suffered a lot in the hands of the government, the British government. And he wasn't recognized at all for his contributions of decoding all the secret codes of the Nazis. So you see, he was a phenomenal brain, a phenomenal guy. So as you can see here, does he have any planets in Digbal?
No.
Any planets in Marana?
Saturn.
Yes.
Yeah, Saturn.
Saturn, absolutely. Saturn, and nothing else, is it? No, nothing else.
Oh,
Now, from his Arud, do you see any planets in any?
Ketu.
Yes. Is it?
No.
No, my mistake.
No. Nothing.
Nothing?
Mm-mm.
Right. Okay. One. Yeah, nothing. But, you know, the thing is, with him, he's got two aruds, right? One is Venus and the other one is with the moon, because he's got two lords, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, guys? Yes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So where is his arud? Which is the first arud? With Venus, it is here. And if we take the moon, what is his arud? 1, 2, 3, 4,
Capricorn.
5. Yes, absolutely. So Capricorn. So if we take Capricorn, then does he have anything in Digbal or anything? if you see from Capricorn, if you can,
Venus.
yeah,
Venus.
no, Venus is
Oh.
it's in dying position. Venus and
Sixth
Mercury,
house.
yeah,
Yeah, Venus is dying.
Venus is dying, and you see what a fine
Ketu
line.
maybe one.
Yeah, Ketu is
Ketu.
closing on. Yeah, absolutely. Ketu
Ketu.
is closing on. See, he was very good with decoding and very brilliant with
Mm.
numbers, you see. He was a phenomenal with numbers. So you have to understand that. Hey guys, can you switch off that? Okay. So, what else? And then that's it, I think, for the day. One sec. Oh, yes, last chart of the day. Aleister Crowley.
Oh,
We know him?
crazy guy.
Yes, absolutely. Isn't it? So,
It's got Venus, Digbala, Saturn, Digbala.
Yeah.
yes. Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
From
Can you see?
Arudha Lagna, sun is dying.
No.
No. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can everybody see Mars is in his Marana Sthana here? Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the Mars is in
Mm.
MKS. It's in its dying position, as well as Mercury is in MKS. Can you see that?
Mm.
But equally, Venus is phenomenal. Venus is in great strength. It's in the fourth house, as well as Saturn in great strength. So he's got like Venus and Saturn blessing him. Varun is blessing him, and Agni is blessing him. Agni means the whole phenomenal. He had this whole drive, this power, this thirst for occult and seeking occult knowledge and all that. So all of that that Venus gave him. And
What about Rahu in the ninth house?
yeah, Rahu is dying. So he was like this whole demonic thing. You know, when he died, when he passed away at his funeral, lot of the tabloids and the publications at the time printed that he was like this whole synonymous with like this Satan, this satanic rituals, and they kind of said he was like a devil himself, who had died. So again, like I said, this is phenomenal that Rahu in the ninth house, it's in yeah, and he was forever seeking, um, you know, sort of like he declared himself like a great guru, like a incarnation of some kind of a deity or something. He even went to India seeking, he climbed the K2, the Mount K2, but then he kind of got sick along with all his mountaineering friends, and he came back. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you see, there's a lot of problems with that. So yeah, and if you see from his Arur, all these planets are in the 12th house. So that's a big problem here. Okay. So remember, that's a problem, because anything 12, you are going to lose. And so he lost a lot of this wisdom because he went completely over the board, completely overboard in terms of his, like, ushering in the golden dawn and this whole magical, cult kind of following, Okay, so any questions?
I have remarked two questions.
Yeah, go on.
The first question is, in one of the slides you mentioned that Mercury, if it is in Digbala, it can destroy evil combinations. What do you mean by that?
That means it will take away some of the problems if you have other evil combinations, like if you have like, let's say, Saturn in the 10th house or something, or aspecting. So the Mercury in the first house, because it's a benefic, it will be very positive. very, very positive. Yeah.
Okay. And you also mentioned in one of the slides about if you want to improve the results, you can worship on tithis. So is it anything specific like the tithi should be matched with your birth? Like if you're born in Shukla Paksh, then you should consider this Shukla Paksh of tithi.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the Pitru
Yeah,
Paksh.
but yeah, that is true. But that is a little bit advanced, because there's many nuances. You have to see the whole chart and things like that.
And last one question, when you talk about Digbalas, should they be applied only on the Rashi chart or also on Navamsha and other charts?
Not so much Navamsha, it to up till a point. But the main thing is Lagna and Arud Lagna, yeah?
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi guys, anyone?
Uh, Sonal, can I ask you, if the planet is retrograde, is it going to change? For example, if you have Jupiter in third, where
Yeah.
he is his dying position, and he is retrograde, it won't change the dying position, right? It will be, I mean, when he is retrograde, when the planet is retrograde, is it going to change something or no?
Uh, no, it's even more powerful, Vanya, if it is retrograde. Retrograde
Oh,
planets are usually powerful.
okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. And another question, Shweta, to answer, I forgot about the Navamsh thing. This is very advanced, but a lot of these, the deities are used in the D10 chart, which is the chart for career and power. Okay. But we won't go into that. I already mentioned that earlier, because this is like advanced levels. So we will not go there.
All right.
Okay. Margarita, tell me what else? Everything okay? So guys, this is it.